Hello, and welcome to another DataPeek tutorial. In this video, we are going to go over some of the features found with data management. This page is restricted to admins and subadmins only, and can be found by clicking Data and Users. The Data Management tab contains various subtabs that help you manage your data. Under Data Connectors, users have the ability to add or create datasets from any of the data connectors listed. This list may be subject to change. However, it allows users to create datasets from a variety of unique sources, such as database, cloud storage, URLs, APIs, or local storage. We will demonstrate its use during the Datasets chapter. Under the My Data Connectors page, users can view or remove records added from the data connectors. Please note that these are only limited to files uploaded from any source besides local, API, or URL. Under the Datasets page, users can view or manage their datasets. Datasets are used throughout DataPeek for things like generating graphs or insights. To add a dataset, select the plus icon. This will redirect you to the Data Connectors tab. In this example, we're going to be uploading from our local machine. Be sure to give the dataset a notable name and description and select Add. You can always come back and edit a dataset name or description anytime by going to the Datasets page and selecting the Edit icon on the dataset. Datasets can also be deactivated or reactivated by their respective icons. Lastly, you can remove them by selecting the trash icon. You should also notice that there is a plug icon for these datasets. These will be used while creating output APIs, and we'll talk more about that in the Output APIs chapter. You should also notice that datasets contain a dropdown. Some datasets can have multiple versions. These are often created from things like datasheets. To learn more about datasheet versioning and datasheets, click here to see the datasheets video. The AutoML tab provides a visual view of how your data is connected to various site features. The Auto Analytics page provides a wizard to users that generates analytics or graphs on the fly. To begin, start by selecting an active data set and select Submit. Depending on the number of analytics you want provided, this could take a while. After your analytics have been processed, you can quickly view graphs based on the data that the AI thinks might be useful to you. You also have the ability to refine your generated graphs, or have the AI explain your graph, or even provide you with recommendations. Output APIs provide users with the ability to export datasets. These APIs are managed under the Datasets tab. To create an output API, you'll need to select the plus icon or navigate back to Datasets. When you're on the Datasets tab, select the dataset you want to create an API for and then select the plug icon. Give the endpoint a useful name and description and navigate back to Output APIs. You should see your new endpoint here. Let's try some of the Output API features. Start by selecting your endpoint and then select the eye icon. This allows you to test your API to see if it's working correctly. There are two main components to notice here. The left component contains the token, request endpoint, the test button, and the request body. On the right, we have the response component. When testing the request, any response will populate here. Select Test API to see if your endpoint is working. You should receive an error and a response code of 401. This endpoint needs some additional information to get working correctly, which we will cover shortly. But for now, let's talk about some of the response codes. A code 200 means that the request went through correctly. Whenever you receive a code 200, you'll also receive the dataset in JSON format as the response object. A code 401 means there was a problem authenticating your endpoint. This means that there could be an issue with your token. We'll talk about tokens in a later chapter. Code 404 occurs when the server cannot find your resource. This could occur from an inactive or missing dataset. A code 500 occurs when the request ran into an issue. If you continue having issues with this code, it could indicate issues with your dataset. These should be the main codes that you run into. However, if you receive any other code and want to learn more about them, look up HTTP response codes online. If you have not created a token yet, please see the next chapter where we go in depth talking about tokens. To assign a token to an API, select the API you want, and then select Assign Token to API. This will bring up a pop-up in which you can assign one or more tokens to this endpoint. To test to see if your token is working correctly, select your Output API and then click the eye icon. Make sure that the token is assigned to the token dropdown and then click the Test API button. If you receive a code of 200 and a JSON object containing your dataset, then things are working correctly. Lastly, output APIs can be deactivated or reactivated anytime, or can be removed by selecting the trash icon. The last component is the API Tokens page. This is a tab dedicated for tokens used in your output APIs. Tokens are necessary for external sites to access specific parts of the DataPeek system. To generate a token, select the plus icon and give the token a memorable name and description. After the token is generated, you'll notice that there is a token key on the right-hand side of the table. These keys are used when creating APIs on the system. Tokens can be added or deleted at any time. This concludes the overview for data management. In the next video, we're going to talk about AI data merge.